Welcome back to Movie Moshow. Today we are going to review the adventure film, Last of the Mohicans. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We post multiple times daily. Spoilers ahead. The year is 1757, the English colonies are in the midst of the French and Indian War, and the British and French have been at war for 3 years over control of North America. The colonists are trapped in the thick of a conflict between Indian tribes on opposing sides. The Cameron family's frontier home is visited by 3 men, John, Terry Kinney, Alexandra, Tracy Ellis, and James, Justin M. Rice. They are Chingachgook, Russell Means, his son Uncas, Eric Schweig, and Hawkeye, Daniel Day-Lewis, the family's adopted white son. Colonist Jack Winthrop, Edward Blatchford, informs Hawkeye that he is recruiting soldiers for the British Army in order to protect the homes of the colonists on the frontier from Huron War Party attacks, who are loyal to France. The following morning, he and a party of others set out for Albany, New York, to get these terms of agreement from General Webb. If their homes are assaulted, Webb agrees to give them permission to depart. Satisfied, Winthrop and the others consent to assist the British forces at Fort William Henry, 60 miles north of Albany, by providing their militia services. While this is going on, Cora Monroe, Madeline Stowe, and her weak, younger sister Alice, Jody May, who have been given notice to meet their father Colonel Edmund Monroe, Maurice Roves, go along a forest trail with a British garrison. Major Duncan Howard, Stephen Waddington, who is engaged to Cora, is in charge of the garrison. They follow a native guide named Magua, Wes Studi, on their way to Fort William Henry, but Duncan is oblivious that anything is wrong because he acts distant from him and speaks negatively about the British in his own tongue. Then, for no apparent reason, Magua turns and moves toward the rear of the line, at which point a Huron war party ambushes the garrison. The British soldiers are overrun as the women, who have been knocked off their horses, cluster together in the underbrush. The remaining Huron are then driven back by Chingachgook, Uncas, and Hawkeye. By himself aiming at Cora, Magua is forced to retreat into the woods by Hawkeye. Only Cora, Alice, and Duncan are still alive when all is said and done. Assuring the surviving that he and his men will accompany them to Fort William Henry, Hawkeye gathers provisions from the dead. The other horses are sent away by Uncas, who explains that they are too noisy and visible. The group departs on foot. Duncan confronts Hawkeye as they travel, asking him why he and his band chose to go west rather than join the militia. Hawkeye clarifies that he's neither a militia or scout, meaning that he doesn't follow orders. They all soon arrive at the Camerons' farm, where Hawkeye finds the cabin burning and the occupants dead. Since nothing was taken, Hawkeye and Uncas surmise that a war party was responsible and was probably searching the border for helpless colonists. Cora is shocked when Hawkeye declines to bury the dead, but he reassures her that they are not just random people to him. Hawkeye explains to a remorseful Cora later that evening while they are camped out that if they had buried the Camerons, anyone searching for their trail would have recognized it as a sign of their passing. He tells her a Mohican folktale and describes how Chingachgook raised him as a Mohican after finding him as a little child after his family had been slaughtered. He claims that there is a monument to the Camerons and his family in the sky. Cora proves to be an understanding soul, and he stays watch all night. When a Huron hunting party approaches, they prepare their fortifications but retreat since Hawkeye was camped near a cemetery. The party stays with them the following day as they get closer to the fort. When they get there, they discover it under French artillery fire. The girls are reunited with their father after they sneak into the fort and are welcomed. The fact that they are there astounds him, and he insists that he never invited them. Instead, Magua had duped them into going with their father. He offers the trappers anything they require out of gratitude, including food and gunpowder. The French persist in digging trenches that, when they are close enough to the fort, will provide range for mortars to bombard it. Monroe explains their current predicament. At most, they have 3 days. Monroe decides to send out one more courier to General Webb, Mac Andrews, at Fort Edward as a final resort after learning that his previous messengers were unable to relay requests for reinforcements. Monroe reacts disinterestedly and even Duncan declines to accept what he witnessed at the Cameron property when Hawkeye brings the distressing news that innocent colonists are being attacked in the frontier. As a result of Monroe's apparent disregard for the colonists, Winthrop and other militiamen demand to be allowed to return home to care for their families. However, Monroe threatens them with sedition and orders that anyone spotted deserting shall be shot on sight. Hawkeye suggests that the colonists turn to the French if the British are unable to assist them. Hawkeye assures Monroe that his accusations of treason are untrue. Everyone gets ejected by Monroe. General Montcalm, Patrice Chereau, is addressed by Magua as he returns to the French camp outside the fort and provides him with the most recent information. When questioned about why he was focusing on Monroe's kids, Magua reveals his utmost loathing for the man, vowing to kill the women and prove to Monroe that his bloodline has ended before ripping out his heart. Later, it is discovered that Monroe was the one who attacked Magwa's community and killed all of the children there. When Magwa was finally allowed to visit his wife after being sold into slavery, he found out that she had remarried and had assumed he was dead. Cora later discovers she is falling in love with Hawkeye when they reunite in the hospital. She rejects Duncan's marriage proposal on moral grounds after learning his lies about the Huron war bands attacking the colonists when he approaches her, promising that all will be forgotten once they get back to England. She sends him go as a decent man with no particular regard for him. Later, she runs across Hawkeye, and the two have a passionate moment of love. Without reinforcements for days, it is quickly learned that Hawkeye let his colonist allies evacuate the fort. He is detained for sedition and given a hanging verdict. He says his only reason for staying at the fort is her when Cora asks him why he didn't go with her. She argues with her father, boldly stating her opinion that perhaps the British cause more harm than help to the colonies. Monroe is coerced into surrendering by Montcalm as the French quickly take control of the fort. The British are permitted to leave the fort and travel to Albany with their families as long as they later return to England. Monroe reluctantly agrees, but only after reading an intercepted letter from General Webb outlining his justification for not sending assistance. A sizable Huron force under the command of Magwa ambushes the British as they leave the fort after they have been defeated. Monroe is personally attacked by Magwa, who tells him that his daughters are the next to be attacked. Chingachgook frees Hawkeye, and they take Cora, Alice, and Duncan and Uncas to a cave hidden beneath a waterfall away from the battle. Hawkeye and the others won't be able to defend themselves if they are discovered because their gunpowder is damp. Hawkeye assures Cora that, as long as she maintains her fortitude in the face of the approaching Hurons, he will return to find her. Uncas jumps into the cascade with Chingachgook and Hawkeye, and it's clear that his affections for Alice have developed over time. Magwa and his soldiers then kidnap Duncan and the women. When the hostages are carried to a Huron village, Magwa talks about his plans with the sachem, Mike Phillips, or elder, there. An unarmed Hawkeye then enters the settlement, interrupting him. As he approaches, Huron warriors beat him down but he keeps his composure. Hawkeye pleads with the sachem to reevaluate what Magwa has told him and persuades him that Magwa is only acting out of personal fulfillment rather than for the sake of the tribe by having Duncan translate into French for him. The sachem makes his choice. Cora will be sacrificed by being burned alive in order to atone for the death of Magwa's children. To appease the British, Duncan is to be returned back, and Alice is to be given to Magwa as a bride so that both of their bloodlines can live on. The sachem has decided to release Hawkeye for his bravery, but Hawkeye speaks again, asking with Duncan to convey that he will take Cora's place in her place. Duncan, however, deliberately mistranslates so that it is Hawkeye who is brought to be burned alive and not him. As Magwa resentfully departs with Alice and Duncan is taken away, he orders Hawkeye to take Cora. Cora is taken into the forest by Hawkeye, where they meet up with Chingachgook and Uncas. To save Duncan from further suffering as he is burned on the stake, Hawkeye takes aim and gently shoots him there. Uncas instantly leaps in front of the rest and pursues Magwa's company in an effort to save Alice. Before confronting Magwa, he is able to eliminate a number of the group's members. Magwa quickly eliminates Uncas, though, by stabbing him in the side. Before Magwa slashes his throat and dumps his body over the cliffside, Uncas apologizes to Alice. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.